Hey everybody, my name's Yvonne Villarreal and I cover TV here at the LA Times. And joining us today is the man, the myth, the legend, Aaron Paul.
Oh, I love you.
Right? That's the perfect.
Wow, what an intro. How
Thanks
are
for
you?
coming.
Yeah, thanks.
I don't know if you know this, but you were part of like our inaugural live chat series. And that was during the days when we did it via computer.
Yeah.
Computer to computer.
I remember that.
And now we're in the flesh. What do you think of our studio?
I love it. It's beautiful.
Do you want to live here?
I wouldn't mind
We might
bunking
like
up there. It's a
bunking
nice
up.
view. Downtown LA.
Yes.
I love it.
It's nice, right?
Yeah.
We've stepped it on up. So we're here today to talk about your Hulu series, The Path.
The Path, yeah.
In it, you play a family man who's a member of a religious movement, who's also sort of having a faith crisis, like he's in doubt. And this was the first script you read after, the first TV drama script that you read after Breaking Bad, right?
After Breaking Bad, yeah. You know, I was so blessed to be a part of such a special show for so many years, and so at that time I wasn't really entertaining the idea of jumping back into another television series, and nothing against TV. I mean, that's really where all of the incredible gritty stories are being told, such detailed, narrative. And so I knew I would probably find myself back into TV. I just didn't know when. And so I wasn't even looking at TV scripts. And so, but my team called me. I answered the phone and my entire team was on the call. And they said, listen, there's this offer that came in. I know you're not looking at TV at the moment, but it's already straight to series. Michelle Monaghan is attached. You would play her husband. It's from the minds behind Parenthood and Friday Night Lights, and we read the first 2 episodes and we think you should read them. And so I did, and I had to, I was just blown away by what Jessica Goldberg, our fearless leader, creator, had created. I mean, she really painted such an incredible world for us to kind of play within, and I just really could relate to these characters within this movement. They're all searching for answers. And
was there a moment that clicked for you while reading? Was there a moment where you're like, I need to do this?
Honestly, it was, it was pretty early on. It really grabbed me. I think in the first episode when Eddie, you're trying to understand, like, okay, why is this character having doubts? He's the one person in the family that's just not really buying anything they're selling anymore. What is that motivation? And then when I saw Eddie in a flashback in Peru, and he sees his dead brother leading him down this long hallway, and then a door opens, and you're not really sure what he sees, but what he does see is the reason why he's having all these doubts. So right there, it just grabbed a hold of me, and it never let go. And so I sat down with Jessica Goldberg, and Jason Katims and Michelle Lee, and just fell in love with them. And they told me what really their plans were for the arc of the first season, and then really the arc of the show. And
talk about your involvement, because you're also a producer, right?
Yeah. And that was another thing. When they came to me, that was part of the, what was so such an incredible offer. They said I could jump on as producer and have just a bigger voice in the whole production of it all. And I love it. I see why people jump into that sort of field. I got a real taste of it when BoJack Horseman was sat on my lap. It was a 6-page spec, and they asked me if I would help develop it with them, and it was fun, putting these pieces together and then doing the pitches, and it's great. I love it.
So yeah, you do BoJack Horseman for Netflix. You also voice a character. Was there any like side eye from either Netflix or Hulu about like you're straddling both teams here?
Probably, yeah. Sorry, but yeah, I don't know. It's great. I mean, the streaming services are really, I think the way of the future. So.
Are you all hooked up?
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a constant binger, or?
I love binge watching, but I love the week to week as
Yeah.
well. With BoJack, you can just watch it all right when it comes out. With The Path, I think it's nice because it's so funny that this feels like old school television when it comes out week to week.
Pace yourself.
Pace yourself, yeah. Let each episode sort of marinate, and I love it all. I get frustrated when I can't binge, and then I get frustrated when I do binge, and it's over so quickly. But I absolutely do binge, yeah.
Well, talk about capturing sort of the emotional pain of Eddie. Like, what is the challenge of that? Because you can see it all, like even in his eyes. Like, there's so much happening behind.
Well, it's all in the writing, I could just instantly relate to this guy. He is trapped. He's within a movement that he was full force, moving forward 18 years, believed in every single word that they preached, and then he just had this eye-opening, just this awakening, where, oh my God, all of this is a lie. This is just made up bull, and but he knows if he says anything to his family, he knows that they'll just turn their backs and walk away from him and never speak to him again. And so that right there is so painful. And so he knows, okay, what I have to do is I have to live a life of lies. I'm obviously, my family knows something's up, so I'd rather admit to something I did not do.
Right. That's crazy that an affair is almost a better option than questioning your faith.
Right, because they know in their movement, they know they can get past someone, transgressing, as they call it, in the movement. They can talk, communicate, they live a life of transparency, and then they move forward. But in reality, those actions hurt. And how are you going to move past? It's hard, but people do it. And so I don't know. I just instantly related to this guy, and also I just gravitate towards damaged characters. For me, as an actor, I find them incredibly fun to play and very satisfying. Going to work and zipping on a completely different skin and crying my eyes out.
Well, and Eddie is like. Not to say that Jesse Pinkman wasn't a man, but Eddie is like a man. He's got kids.
Yeah.
He's got a wife, a family. Like, it's like a totally different side and element.
Yeah, it's such a polar opposite of Jesse. I mean, I really Jesse was kind of a kid, and he grew up a little bit throughout the show, but it was really because he was just being beaten up so much, and he just kind of had to grow up. And Eddie, he is a man that has a really intense past that he is, dealing with and trying to, heal his wounds. And I'm very excited to see where this road takes us.
Humor me with this scenario. Stay with me here.
Okay.
Jesse Pinkman goes off into the sunset in the finale of Breaking Bad. In my mind, he goes cross country. Stops at a gas station in upstate New York.
Okay.
Runs into Sarah. Probably is hitting on her. Could he easily be swayed into this movement, you think? At that point?
At that point in time, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to find a deep.
Because that's when it happens, when you're in search of something,
It's
right?
true. When you're, when you're at the lowest point in your life, that's when it's easy to be swayed into sort of this romantic venture out there. Because it is very appetizing. There's a movement with just smiling faces, providing answers, and their whole theory is, okay, just live a life of transparency. Don't lie to one another. Be kind to one another, and you'll live in the garden for the rest of eternity. I mean, we've heard that story in many different ways, but I mean, we're all searching for answers.
So Jesse's a maybe.
Including
Including
Pinkman.
Pinkman.
Pinkman's looking for answers. So yeah, he could be swayed, but I think he's probably hiding out for some time.
For some time.
Yeah.
How about the Bible that Jessica sort of came up with about some of the practices and teachings, and did you sort of soak that up?
Yeah.
Was everyone walking around with those water bottles with the eye symbol on it?
Yeah, it was
drinking
great.
From it.
It's true. We were truly drinking the Kool-Aid from the very beginning, even before we started shooting. They provided us a big, thing to drink it out of.
Really?
Well, it's just that, the big water bottle with the eye. And so Michelle, I lost mine right at the very beginning, and then I found it.
Okay.
It was just hidden in one of my drawers in the trailer. But it's great. I mean, everyone's walking around. You really felt like you were a part of the movement. You really, truly. Because we shot on, a beautiful compound just outside of New York in this beautiful town, Nyack. And I don't know, you just really felt like you were a part of it. And Jess and the rest of the writers really created, like you said, a true Bible. They created a real movement. They really did. And I mean, that's how all movements get started, is with an idea. And if you're charismatic enough, those movements can snowball into a big reality for a lot of people. And yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, I've told this so many times before, but we were shooting in New York, and there was a table set up with pamphlets lined up on the table, and on the cover of the pamphlet is just a man reaching up to the sky with a ladder behind him. And then you open up the pamphlet, and it just gives you a quick sort of description of what the movement's all about. And people would come by and they'd see this table set up. There's no cameras up or anything, and they'd come by, and I would watch them pick up the pamphlet and look at it like, oh, this is interesting. And they would ask for more information. But that's, people want answers, and this movement's providing those answers.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Did you find that you were asking Jessica a lot of questions, or were you sort of like us? Because as the show unfolds, you learn different sort of tenets of it. It comes like piecemeal, bit by bit. For you, was it important to know it like all at once, or did you like sort of?
That's the thing. It was in the movement that it had the whole structure, all the rungs. There's 13 rungs. 10 have already been written. We're still waiting on the 13th rung.
Right.
Each rung represents a certain thing. And so, yeah, I mean, we read that pretty quickly. And, I would compare Myerism to so many different movements out there like it. I mean, you can compare it to many different religions, small or big. A lot of them, they're all kind of trying to tell the same thing. It's really about the people in charge of the movement. Some are good, some are bad. Some have sort of different motives. And I think maybe Cal, for example, is played by the brilliant Hugh Dancy. He has some kind of dark motives.
See, he freaked me out at first, but now I think Sarah creeps me out more. Right?
Man, Sarah and Cal. Damn it! What's happening there? Yeah. There's something going on.
Not good.
Yeah, I love it.
But like you said, did it make you think differently about how you view sort of movements like this or religious groups like this?
I mean, a little bit.
Judge,
no, not to judge, but yeah, exactly. I understand it. I get it. And all these people, because I, in a jokingly way, people say, "Oh, you're in. I love the show. It's culture's so crazy." And I snap at them and say, we're not a cult, we are a religious movement. But these people in, so-called cults, they don't think they're, it's in the eye of the beholder. Exactly, they don't think they're inside of a cult. They really, truly believe the message that they are spreading. And that's what I love about Eddie's character is he's within this movement, but he's the one that just doesn't buy it.
Well, and you had an arc on Big Love, obviously, and you grew up in a religious household. Did you draw upon that? Did you draw upon like what we know about Scientology? I know there was all the Scientology connections early on before it even went to series, but talk a little bit about what you thought of that or your own
Yeah.
connections.
I mean, it's almost impossible not to draw upon your own experiences,
Yeah.
and it's good to draw upon those. You know, I think it makes it more believable, at least as for an actor to portray. It's nice to pull from your own sort of experiences. And I grew up in a very loving, beautiful family that was extremely religious. And, you know, my father was a Southern Baptist minister. We moved around a lot, went to different, churches. So yeah, it was impossible not to draw upon that. And, you can compare Myerism to so many things. Scientology definitely being one of them, and there's a lot of similarities there, but it's not based on one or the other. It's just, I think, a lot of things the writers plucked pieces from different things and then kind of just made up their own as they went on.
How was it to shift from shooting in Albuquerque to the East Coast? How was that for you?
It's great. I love it. I love it. And I love New Mexico. But 7 years was a long time. But I loved it there. I had such an incredible family.
Yeah.
But I've shot in New York before, but just, a couple weeks here, a couple weeks there. But it's nice to just relocate and be in that city. It's such a beautiful, just magnetic city. So it's beautiful.
Well, we're going to take a question from Twitter. It's
Yeah.
from Irina. What or who do you draw inspiration from to play Eddie? I guess we sort of talked about that, but is there a specific person?
Hi, Irina. Is there a specific person? You know what? I don't think so. I think it's usually the characters I play are just a bunch of jumbled pieces together that I kind of form, and throughout the years, because at the very beginning you don't really know the person. You try and create as much of a backstory as possible, and then go from there. But throughout the years, more layers are revealed. You slowly, begin to know the character a little bit more, and so by the end of it, you lived and breathed every moment that we've seen.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and Stevie, I think it is. Sorry, Stevie, if I'm butchering your name. If you could give Eddie advice at the end of season 1, what would it be?
Run far, far away.
Get in that car with Jesse.
Yeah, exactly. Get in that car with Jesse. Go hide out together. I don't know. Cal killed Silas, and you need to let everyone know that. You are.
And that was a brutal, that was
my
gross.
It was raw.
I
mean, just boom, right in the neck. But I love that they went that way.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I don't know. But the thing is, he wants to obviously have his family in his life, so it's hard to. He's just screwed. You know what I mean? He's just kind of, oh man, what's gonna happen? But
do you think you could play the Cal character? That is
it'd be great. Yeah, I mean, there's so many rich characters in this show, and obviously, I love playing Eddie. I love his journey, but. Yeah, it's great.
Let's talk about some of the most challenging scenes for you, because you have some really intense, when you're in the sort of lockdown mode in that room and just going and then the fight with Cal too. Really,
that was great.
That was fun. Yeah,
I love that. Anytime you can roll around with Hugh Dancy, you take it.
That's going to be the excerpt we get.
There you go. You're welcome.
The headline.
Yeah, it's just it's great. That scene where he was in the 2-week lockdown. Mike Cahill, he's just such a brilliant director. He has such incredible ideas, and that was one of them. Before we even started shooting, he's like, I have this idea for And it was really exciting, but it was also, you know, definitely the
What
most.
was the direction during those scenes?
He's
Just
like, there's
go all
four,
out?
yeah, there's 4 beats. You know, at the beginning, you're very coherent. You're there. You're ready.
Uh-huh.
You know, you're doing this for your family. The second beat, you're kind of questioning, was this a good idea? I don't know. Third beat, you're mad. You're, you know, screaming. You're breaking down. Fourth beat, you have just completely lost it, and you're hallucinating and all of this. And so he's like, and action. And you're like, okay, here we go, you know,
Yeah.
and the camera is in the center of the room, and you're just walking in a circle,
around.
and the camera is following you. So it's just walking around like this in a circle, and then you're just going. He's like, okay, and now phase 2, you know, and then now phase 3. But it was great.
Yeah.
It was.
Was that like a half a day or full day?
That was a half a day. Yeah,
Wow.
half a day, just going through, you know, every bit of emotion you can possibly go through.
At least you didn't have to actually walk the 250 miles.
Well, that is true. Yeah. I'm
I don't know if there's any movement I would do that for. That's intense.
I love that. I love that that story.
Well, and Katrina on Twitter asked, I think we sort of addressed this, but did working on Big Love influence how you approach this project?
Hi, Katrina. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No.
You know, it's a little bit different, but still dealing with sort of strange views. You know, but it's just like what you said. It's all in the eye of the beholder.
Right.
And so I don't know.
What do you think is in store for the Eddie and Sarah relationship?
Oh man. Well.
Because I did hear Jessica say Eddie gets a love interest.
Oh really? Interesting.
Don't act like you don't know.
I don't know. I can't confirm or deny that. I don't know. Yeah.
That's cool.
You know, I've read the first 2 episodes of this next season,
Okay.
and it's just
Give us
crazy.
one word,
Oh,
an
man.
obscure like detail from it. What should we look out for?
Blood.
Blood, more blood.
Should I say that? I don't know. I wanted to come up with a crazy word. Blood is involved.
Blood is involved.
Yeah. What that means, I don't really know. Well, I actually do know, but I'm not going to tell you.
How about, can we discuss the Hulu commercial you did?
Yeah.
And how perfect that was?
Oh,
That
it was fun.
It's so hilarious.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, they kind of came out of nowhere. They're like, hey, do you want to do this? And I'm like, I love that.
Uh-huh.
Did you see the online thing I did with, it was a fake casting?
No.
So I went to 200 South La Brea, which I used to go to when I was auditioning for commercials
Okay.
almost every day. And I would audition for 3 or 4 at the same, you know, in one day at 200 South La Brea. And so I went to 200 South La Brea, and they're holding a casting call. They had no idea what they were auditioning for. But before they walked in, they're like, you've seen The Path, right? Just say you have. Just if you haven't, just say you have. And so it's all about catching people in a lie. And so they say, so you've seen The Path, right? They're like, oh yeah. So you know it's about a woman who gets lost in a black hole while running down the path. And they're like, yeah. Well, you're going to be reading with Aaron Paul, who, you know, is the star of the show. And then I come walking out, and they're like, okay. And then we start doing this scene about how I lost my wife.
No,
and
that
a
was
jogging
that's
path.
the one. And you did it like, wasn't it at it was at that restaurant, right? The bread.
Oh, the bakery. That yeah, it's similar story because the
I
guy
see.
because that's actually the commercial.
The commercial, okay.
So that was all set
No,
up.
but you did something
I did
separate.
a separate
Oh, I
thing
see.
where it was real actors lying to my face, which was so sad because when you're a struggling actor, you will say anything
Anything.
to get the job.
Yeah.
Or to get the job. Do you ride a horse? Of course I ride a horse. You get cast. You're like, holy shit. I don't know how to ride a horse.
What lies have you said? in the
I
beginning?
ride a horse. Yeah, when I was offered Exodus for Ridley Scott, the offer already came in, but they asked, do you ride a horse? I'm like, yeah, I love horses. I hate horses. I actually love horses, but I just don't want to ride them.
Yeah.
I almost died on a horse when I was a little kid.
Oh my God.
And it's okay, I'm okay. But I was also very terrified. But you can't say no to Ridley Scott.
No.
And I love, so yeah.
You didn't lie about anything for the path?
No.
No.
No. But when I first started, it's like in this industry, you can't get a job unless you have credits,
Right.
but you can't get credits unless you have,
Right.
And so when I first started, I made up a completely fake resume, just saying, oh yeah, I was on that Disney show, it was great, I had a recurring role, I love those people, producers are amazing, yeah, call them up, they'll vouch for me. Yeah, it's great.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
What would you say is more outside the realm of possibility for Aaron Paul?
Okay.
Being someone that gets involved with a movement like this and gets absorbed by it, or becoming a meth dealer with a chemistry teacher?
Oh, wow.
For Aaron Paul.
That's a tough one. I have to answer one or the other. Not neither. I mean, I probably, they're both kind of outside of the realm, but I can see me maybe heading towards the light, more than cooking and selling crystal meth.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Don't do drugs, you know what I mean?
On that note, I think we'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Always a pleasure to
Glad
see
you
you.
could come back to our nice, snazzy
Yeah,
set.
I love my coffee.
Yeah.
Love my coffee.
Just for you. It's not whiskey. And thank you guys for tuning in. Check back for more of our Emmy chats. Thanks.